Got it. Got it. Got it. Starting Point is now live. I just got the notification.
So hello, everybody that is watching. I'm going to make sure that I go ahead and share this on my page.
I'm sharing.
Leisha is sharing. Kay is sharing. Make sure if
I'm sharing.
You are sharing too. Watching, I'm going to make sure that I go ahead and share this. Every time, I don't mute this. So if you're watching, go ahead and share, like this video. Let us know that you're watching. Even if you don't comment, all of those little things help us to know, help us in the algorithm on Facebook. So if you would just go ahead and like this, if you would go ahead and share this, and if you would comment in the comments below, I'm going to ask this of my guests when they introduce themselves. What was your when you were in elementary? So not middle school, not high school. But when you were in elementary, think all the way back. What was your favorite TV show or book? So our guests are going to share with you in just a moment what theirs was, but I want you to share it with me in the comments below. So go ahead and like this video, share the video too, comment below, tell me when you were in elementary, what was your favorite TV show or book? If you're just tuning in, Starting Point is a space where we talk about starting therapy, we talk about overcoming anxiety, we talk about eating good some of the time. I hope that we get to talk about that more in the future, and I get to have some guests on to walk through different things with me. This season, we have been talking about friendship over and over again. We've been talking about friendship. And tonight we are going to continue in that conversation. We're going to be talking about being a friend of God. And it took me a minute I don't know why, it's like the common sense thing always misses me, right? This was the perfect place for me to start. I didn't connect that it was where I needed to start. So I got all the way to the end. I had all these conversations with everybody. And so tonight we are going to be talking about being a friend of God. And I have some amazing guests that are on. Let me move to gallery view. We have Miss Alicia. Oh, I'm not going to introduce you. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do. And then tell us when you were in elementary, what was your favorite book or TV show?
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be back on Starting Point. This just feels like a sister talk, like virtual feels like how we do things now. So low key, I feel like I'm hanging out. But I am a social worker at LMSW. I have been in this field for a little over 10 years. That makes me sound really old in my eyes. That's so freaking weird, but it's the truth. And I've done everything from clinical therapy to long-term care to working with the homeless population or displaced population. I've done disaster relief, and now I work with young people in middle school, and I love it. It's basically, if there was a job that was my dream job, I'm doing it. I also am the CEO of a fabulous organization called Longview Queens United, where we believe that queens don't compete, they collaborate. And it's our goal to unite women by modeling collaboration. And y'all are on the board, so I'm glad. And I'm a mother of 3 amazing young little boys. Wow. My house is also known as the frat house. It's crazy. We flip, it looks like, a little kid's frat house right now. There's snacks everywhere and cups, sippy cups. Married to the one and only Mike Johnson, who is a realtor in the area. So if you need a home to be sold, it's a seller's market. Shameless plug. Make sure you do that. And I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And last but not least, I am a lover of God. And I am just blessed to be able to say that because there was a time in my life where I didn't want anything to do with not necessarily God, but just religion. And we'll get all into that later. So I am your sister, which I love coming on into your space. I love coming into Jasmine land. Yes. So, thank you for having me. I am Jasmine. I'm honored. I'm so proud of you. I think that it is only God that this is the reason why we're doing this one last, I guess you're saying it's last. I don't think it's happenstance. I think that it is the epiphany that happens when you have when you start. Sometimes you don't know at the beginning until you're already in it. And then it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I am so
I'm ready to get watery.
We said we weren't gonna do that, ladies.
We did. But I'm so proud of you. Like, your execution of this, sis, has been amazing. From the marketing, from the talent, to the way you persisted. I know you was like, man, only 2 people like my little post today, but you kept doing that thing and you kept doing it with class. And I think, and I know in my heart that this is not just like a one-hit or quitter. Like, you did this for something even greater, even if that greatness is solely providing you peace and confidence, love, and joy, even though I don't think that's the only thing it is. But, you know, I just love you so much, and I feel just so overjoyed to be in your set.
Okay, so
inspire me.
Hey,
this day.
Okay, you can go.
So my name is Kay Holmes. I am a licensed social worker. I work in the healthcare field. I'm a social worker at UT Health in Tyler. But my background majority of my background in social work has been in healthcare and child welfare, and also teaching at Jarvis Christian College, which I love educating other individuals on why social work is so amazing and why they should join this wonderful field. I am currently a PhD candidate. I am hoping to finish December 2021.
Come on, Kay. Come on, Dr. Holmes.
And finish.
The struggle has been real, but God has been, he has provided through this process. And I'm excited about this topic tonight because it kind of ties mental health into how we view mental health as Christians, and talking about that can sometimes be a little taboo, but I'm excited that we are bringing it to the forefront. And I'll also say, Jasmine, like, starting point is truly helping individuals. Personally, for me, I watched your episode on when you first started about counseling. And although I'm a social worker and I have been in the field for a long time, and I encourage individuals to get counseling, and I understand the importance of it and how it can be an added support for individuals, I was hesitant to accept counseling myself. And through listening to Starting Point, it really encouraged me to, like, it's okay to speak with someone, to just be your authentic self and let it out. So if you are questioning if you have helped anyone, you have, because that started my journey to self-help for myself. I am the mother of 3. I have 3 girls, 2 who were birthed to me, and 1 who has been in my life since her birth. And I love them all very much. My husband is Clint Holmes, and we are I'm excited to be here. And my movie, I want to talk about my TV show. My favorite book was Wayside School is Falling Down. That was like second, I don't even remember what grade that was, but that was my favorite book of all time. My favorite TV show is The Cosby Show. And I'm just going to go ahead and put my plug in that my favorite movie is The Wiz, like, hands down.
I forgot my book.
You better not shake your head at The Wiz. I love The Wizard of Oz, but the music.
Oz is top tier.
Wizard of Oz is top tier, but the music in The Wiz is
The Wiz is
undeniable.
All around better. Like, all around better. But anyway,
Wiz is beautiful because of us.
Yes.
No,
the music.
The music, how it was executed, how they interpreted the Alvin Ailey dance scene at the end when she said
the scarecrow in the original coming down off of the thing and being all broken up.
I still think Michael did it better. Like, when I think of home, come on, Diana.
No song. We didn't need it, and I love Michael. But okay, let's not get on this.
All right, but you want to know my book? I forgot to tell my book.
Favorite book or TV show?
Definitely growing up, my favorite TV show was The Cosbys, or even any spinoff like Different World, and even though Living Single wasn't associated, but that one too, like anything like that. Instantly when you said favorite book, I think of anything by Judy Blume.
Yeah,
like it was my jam. I was a big Babysitters Club person.
And what is it? The Boxcar Kids Club?
Yes. And then The Tale of the Stinky Cheese Man. Like I really like that one too. So yeah.
I was the kid growing up that when like AR point time came, like sure you could be an athlete, yes, you could be a cheerleader, but when it came time for me to go into that library and buy something in the AR point store,
okay, was the one. You was the one everybody was jealous of when you came out.
I would walk in and be like, I want the tent. Don't show me bookmarks. I don't want no little twisty tops. I don't want no yo-yos. Give me the tent. That's 2,000 points. I know. To me,
I got it.
It was my moment to shine. I was a big fan. And I love the Cosby Show. I think that Alicia and my dad had a lot to do with that. It's interesting that our mom doesn't like that show.
She doesn't like any old TV.
Yeah, she just isn't a fan.
Really?
Any TV show that is not in this era, like this time, she doesn't like it.
Oh, I can like watch Cosby Show reruns all day.
And I liked Out of the Box because I used to do crafts a lot. Well, I used to try. We would never have all these things that we needed to do those crafts, but we would just have like a toilet paper roll and some markers, and so I would just figure out how to do it from there. And then the Boxcar Kids was definitely my favorite. Babysitters Club. Mm-hmm. It was Hank the Cow Dog.
Oh yeah,
all of those two. So many things that I really, really loved.
Well, where the red fern grows.
Where the red, yep,
that was sad though.
Yes, but it was good.
It was good. So tonight I'm gonna introduce our topic a little bit, y'all, and I'm gonna introduce why we're talking about that too. So I've been reading a book called Food and Faith, and in that book, it talks about God resting in the garden on the seventh day. And if we were to rewind in my life, I think that I grew up in church, and I won't blame the church for my thought process. I won't blame my parents. I think that maybe just the way I was interpreting things, it was just, I interpreted God to be harsh.
Yeah.
And mental and like very much like do these things. Please me. Like I was some kind of puppet that was doing a show for God a lot of my life. But I've been reading this book, and in this book, and I've been going to therapy, and in this book, he was talking about God resting on the seventh day. And in it, he says that God didn't rest because he was fatigued. It wasn't like God got to the seventh day and he was like, oh my God, I've done so much. Oh my me, because he's God. And then he was like, let me rest because I'm so tired. But it was because God wanted to enjoy what he had created. There was no other place worth going because what he had created was so wonderful, and he wanted to enjoy his creation. So he rested on the seventh day in order to be with what he had created. And I don't think that I had ever thought about God wanting to be with me, not because of something that I could do, but just because of me being created by him and him wanting to enjoy what he created. And I think that that really shifted my mindset into what it meant for God to be a friend, because so often in my head, God's voice was very harsh. God's voice was very much like, you're doing this wrong, do this, do this, do this. And I did in church, and I got in the routine of doing these things. Lord, am I pleasing you? Lord, am I pleasing you? I just want to be pleasing to you. Am I pleasing you? Rather than thinking that once I was crafted into the family, that now I am his and he is pleased with me because of what his son has done. And that don't mean I got to stop working, but that just means like, that's not the source of from where I'm working from. And so as I'm learning those things about my friendship with God, and I'm thinking about mental health, I see a lot of times that people feel like mental health and faith can contradict itself. It's not together. But I know, and that's why I asked these two social workers, my sisters, that I feel like I can be comfortable in sharing my story with, so that they can help us to understand what it looks like for mental health and faith to go together, right? Because I was sharing with them that one thing that I'm learning, and I know that social workers are taught in this, is to be an asset-based, like, what is the word? Asset-based
practitioner approach.
Where you're looking for those things that can help support the person that you are treating, to be stronger. So rather than faith being something that is opposing your mental health, faith is now an asset. So when you choose the right person, it can be helpful. And I just want to hear from you ladies, how have you seen faith and mental health be woven together? Maybe well, maybe not so well. We can talk about however you want to start that. How have you seen faith and mental health be woven together in your profession?
You want to go first, Kay?
I think for me, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. Now you're frozen though.
Yeah. While she's fixing that, I think that from how I've seen it woven together, I think for a long time I did not see it woven together. I think that it was very much a taboo topic in the community. I'll turn it back over to Kay.
Oh no, I'm sorry, y'all. I guess I had a little internet glitch. You can go ahead, Alicia.
I was just saying, I think that for a while I didn't see it woven together. I didn't see a lot of like, you know, when Jackie Hill Perry came out with the hoodie, you know, Jesus in therapy, like that was because she was making a statement, because historically in our group or in our world, like those two don't marry. It's like, you don't need this, you just need Jesus. And the truth is, Jesus is all we need. But also the truth is, Jesus, and it's been said so many times on Starting Point, but that God created us in this world and then infused us with skill sets so that we could be help to each other. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that help comes in the form of therapy, therapeutic practices, medicines. We don't say to people when they get headaches, like, all you need is a head, is Jesus. You just say, here, take Tylenol. You just say Tylenol, and then you pray over yourself. And so I think that, you know, in more recent years, I think that there has been a transition to where people are understanding that, one, this is not a taboo topic, that needing a therapist, needing help is not a sign of weakness, or, you know, like something's wrong with you, like you're not crazy. Like we used to think, oh, you're just crazy. Like we are coming to understand that there is the benefit of processing. You know, as a social worker, being able to identify strengths, I call them strengths when in reference to the assets, is what helps us to be able to then insert some cognitive behavioral therapy so that we can make those transitions. Because a lot of things that we've been taught need to be untaught, because we learn things from broken people. And so, you know, it's like, if you're learning things from broken people, because we're born into sin and we need to get into Christ so that he can wash us and make us new, then in addition, we need to have a mind change. We need to have a mind switch. We need to have some things retaught. So as we're learning the scriptures and learning the word, we also need to be processing, because I know that you're doing the work, Jasmine, and I know Kay has been doing the work. But when you start recognizing and asking God, creating me a clean heart, renew a right spirit within me, God, or Lord, do this in my heart, what starts coming up is flaws, past issues, past traumas, past heartbreak. And if you don't process that and talk through that and figure out some of those things, either with God, with someone else, you know, in a space that allows you to say it out loud and help someone who is unbiased share back with you, you may get lost in the labyrinth of your mess and not be able to find your way out. And I think that that's sometimes why people fall deeper into depression, because they try to figure it out on themselves. Because, and I hope I'm not getting off of your question, but when it comes to marrying the two, I think that I myself, you know, I haven't seen a lot of people do it. I think it has been something that I myself have tried to do now. So, you know, I have been looking for a therapist. I haven't been able to find one yet, but that's something I very, very much want to. I tend to use you guys as my therapist, which is not necessarily the best thing, but I know that I need that space. You know, I am still taking those steps, but I think now for the first time, I am very much unashamed, though, to say, as a person who dealt with postpartum depression every single pregnancy, that I'm not ashamed of being on Zoloft. I'm not ashamed to say that I do deal with anxiety, that I do know that is something, that is a tool in my tool belt that I need. in order to walk through the day. And I think that now, you know, as a result of even the pandemic, it has caused me to be able to marry my faith and my mental health concerns and how I approach those things. So to answer your question shortly, I haven't seen a lot of people do it. I'm seeing the people around me do it, and I'm trying to do the same.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, what about you?
I think I agree with a lot of what Alicia said, just that historically, especially in the, you know, African-American Black tradition, therapy was not something that was even talked about. I don't even know if I would have known it existed until I was an adult, that there was this profession or this thing called therapy, because you were taught, pray, give it over to God. And not that we don't do that, but we, just like we're given the task to keep our car running the way it needs to run. When I talk to my therapist or when I talk to my group, my support system, I'm getting my oil changed. When I call Alicia and I'm like, hey girl, I just need to vent, I'm getting my car washed. Like, that's how I really view it. Like, it's just a way to take care of the temple, the vessel that God has given us. And he's given us tools and people and resources to do that, just like he's given us a physician to treat an illness, a, you know, engineer to build, a therapist to provide counseling and therapy support. I do see that there has been vast improvements from, you know, how therapy used to be viewed and how we view it now. And I think with, you know, with the pandemic, it's even more important to realize how mental health will impact, how COVID-19 in the middle of political unrest, racial unrest, how this will impact people, not just now that the pandemic is, you know, we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, but there are still people that are suffering from the effects of what COVID did last year or 7 months ago. And if that's never addressed, or we're never able to really talk about how we heal from that and what technique we provide to those individuals, then there are going to be more and more cases where people allow things to just continue to build and build and build. And I see it, unfortunately, too often in the profession that I work in, where, you know, suicide ideation and suicide attempts are real. And, you know, therapy is an approach to kind of combat that on the front end. But if we're not doing that, or we're not open to it, or if it's not even socially accepted, then people are going to be hesitant to, you know, it's just like someone who receives, you know, government assistance. Like, is there still a taboo about that? Like, the fact that you need assistance, but that's what the services are there for those who need the assistance. Therapy is there for those who need the therapy, need the counseling.
Yeah. I think there was a shift even when I went to, so I tried one therapist prior to the one that I have now. And I think that the shift happened when my mom noticed it in me. And she was like, and I had never heard her talk about a therapist, but I know that the grief that we experienced was so great that it wasn't something that we could bring to each other, because we were all carrying that thing really heavy. And she was just like, you need to talk to somebody. And I can't be and I applaud and I appreciate my mom, because so I want to be like her when I grow up. Mommy, if you're watching, please know that, because she knows how to care for you and prioritize herself.
Yes.
Like, to do that well, and to not be like the Black woman that's like, keep beating me up, I want to go down. It's just like, no, like, I want you to be okay. I cannot handle walking through that with you right now, but I need you to go see somebody. And so I was like, man, I must be really messed up and my mama don't want to listen to me. So that's when I went to therapy. But I was just like, and I see my mom do that in so many different facets of her life, that I was just like, man, I want to be able to not just be taking and taking and taking the punch, doing and doing and doing the things, but be able to say, like, I love you and I have to care for myself too. And so how can we work together for you to get the help you need and me to not drown?
Right.
I think, and therapy has been that for me. And so I just, from you guys' perspective, as Alicia, you're working with kids, Kay, you're working in the healthcare field. Like, are there ever any times when people come into y'all spaces and they don't want to talk to you, and they think that, and they are crippled by like the title of social worker or the title of therapy, and what are those obstacles for them?
Do you want to go first?
I think the stereotype. So sure. I think the stereotype of social work still is, oh, y'all take people's kids. You guys work for CPS. Like, you know, in 2021, that's still some of the ideas about what the social work profession is. And even, you know, going into a room, sometimes they're hesitant to talk because they think, oh, well, like, you know, have I done something wrong? And it's like, no, I'm just here to support your discharge needs. Like, I'm here to really be a support. And I'm here if you need anything or if you don't need anything, we're here to help. But, you know, regarding mental health, I do see, you know, that there is a difference in race and culture and how open they are with, you know, I guess just kind of being exposed to, hey, my headspace is I'm not in a good place right now. There is a difference by race and culture. And I think sometimes, you know, being a Black social worker going into a room and maybe I'm visiting with another, you know, minority client or patient, to talk about that is almost like refreshing. Like, so you mean it's okay for me to say this? Like, you mean it's okay for me to admit that I'm not okay right now? And it's like, yes, like there are resources, there are services, and just to let you know, like, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And you have people that are going through like some real hard stuff, like losing, you know, family members and individuals or homelessness. And I mean, so yeah, like that's going to set your mind in a way that, you know, it's okay to say I'm not okay. So I think continuing to just shift the stigma away from mental health. Like everyone has mental health. It's just whether your state of mental health is good at the moment or I could use some support. It's just our psychological well-being, where we are. We all have it. So I think just taking away that stigma from that mental health, or having, you know, not so great mental health at the moment is a bad thing or something that we shouldn't talk about. And it takes individuals, and not just social workers, it just takes people to recognize that it's okay and encourage others that they're not, or you yourself are not in a good place, to talk about it. Talk about it with someone. I mean, I have definitely had to, you know, develop, and this is hard for me because I keep things in a lot and it's hard for me to share, but I have had to develop a group of women that I have to dump my emotions with, so that they can just hear me and they're not judging me, they're just hearing me, and then can come back and say, okay, girl, like, you know, let's talk, let's work on this. But got to have that space. You got to create that space. And for patients, you know, it's not always, I think they're just surprised often that it's okay to say I need help.
Yeah. I just want to say, y'all's teeth look pretty. Okay, squirrel. Y'all are cute. But I think that the obstacle that comes across when I'm working with young people is that a lot of times, first of all, it's the age group. Middle schoolers, just by development, like where they are developmentally, they do not want to share. They are trying to find their way. If you like, the brain is resetting and growing, and synapses are reconnecting. So half the time, if you ask them a question and they say, I don't know, they're being sincere, because it's almost like having a baby brain, you know? So you have to know that going in. They also have hormonal changes. So they may have an attitude one day, and then the next day they may want to be nurtured, and then the next day they may be angry. So there's that. So at middle schoolers are like this, it's like all these different things. Yeah. And so you have to know, even before you get to their issue, you don't really know what you're going to get. So you have to have that thought process, that engagement portion that we are taught is very, very important. Like establishing a safe space, how it smells, how it looks, how it feels, how they feel, your tone, how you approach them. Like you almost like the way I approach middle schoolers is so different from how I used to approach anybody else. And it may look a little unorthodox because I'm trying to establish trust. Yeah. And because a lot of times my middle schoolers are coming to me, you know, because I have heard, someone has told me, not them, but somebody told me they were suicidal. Someone shared with me a suicide note. Someone shared with me that they saw cuts on their arm. Someone shared with me that they may have hygiene issues. Someone shared. So I'm getting secondhand. And so if you have a person who has all those things going on before you even, and somebody else told you their issue, like you can't start off with, hey girl, so I heard your house burned down. You know, you really, or hey girl, you know, I heard you was depressed. Like, you know, do you want to talk about your depression? You're not going to come. And so that's the obstacle. It really is about engaging and understanding where they are developmentally. So one, you're not frustrated and feeling like, oh, well, this child just doesn't want to grow. You have to understand that if they're sitting in your room, period, and not leaving, that you're doing good. Yeah. So a lot of times for my middle schoolers, I offer a lot of journaling. I offer a lot of quiet time with healing frequency music. I offer a lot of time with them just sharing out. We may get off topic, you know, just for a little bit so they can feel like there's a space. Because one thing that they're doing also is testing boundaries, you know, and so being able to give them a choice as to how would you like to approach this today, but also still establishing that I'm the practitioner, I'm the adult or the auntie, and they are the child, because again, that's another thing. So those are some barriers that I see with young people. Also, another barrier is, you know, a lot of young people a lot of middle schoolers don't trust adults, unfortunately, because I think in my whole experience with young people, there have been a handful who weren't feeling like they were experiencing issues with their parent, where their parent either misunderstood them or their parent wanted them, like they all feel so misunderstood. And so that's this other piece is that they don't necessarily trust adults. But the good thing is that if you can get through all of that and establish it, they will spill out their whole life. Mm-hmm. And I mean, sometimes so much so it's like, you know, and then they never want to leave. They always want to come back. They'll be right up under you. And that's another challenge, because the whole goal is to kind of help them use those strengths so that they can be more self-sufficient. So it's like always walking this line, you know, and really trying to pull in the parent so that the parent will be able to also connect with their child. Because, you know, that's a whole nother piece. That's a whole nother piece of just making sure that they still have rights as your client, but they're still a minor. So keeping parents involved, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. That sounds tricky. It sounds like it's a lot of things. I think what I'm hearing you say is just, I think that the word that I've been hearing in school a lot is therapeutic alliance. Is like building that trust with them, the therapeutic alliance, like the relationship that they have with their therapist is going to be what healing happens. Like if they don't, you ain't never gonna get past this. I think it's a unique struggle for Black people, right? Because I can think back to my father, and he was a very private man. And I think back to being places and like, I think back to going to the car dealership with him, and he was trying to buy a car, and he had visited a whole bunch of other places to shop for the car first. And then we go into this office, and I'm sitting on the wall, and he was talking to the man that was trying to sell him the car. He told him a price, and my dad told him, the man that he was sitting with, he was like, the car salesman told Daddy a price. Daddy told him, he was like, well, I can get it cheaper somewhere else. And me, being the young child that I was like, no, you can't, Daddy. They said that it was going to be more there. And he was like, girl.
Messing it up.
And then he was like, don't. And they went on with the car thing, and he had to adjust what he was saying because I had aired him out. And I remember him us leaving out of their office and him being like, he was like, you stay in a child's place, was what he was first said. And then he was talking about how just don't put our business in the street. Like, let me do the talking. don't you be out here sharing, putting our business in the street. And that was my dad told us that a lot. If we was at church and we was in a classroom, like, don't you be out here talking crazy to these people that I don't know. Like, don't put our business in the street. And so coming to therapy, in my head, is don't put our business
cool.
Be cool. Like, we got a name, we got a reputation to uphold. Don't be in here telling all your business. And even if wherever that is, like that's the voice I hear in my head. And so having to develop a relationship with somebody that I'm like, if I tell you this, it won't be my business in the street.
Right.
I'm here to help me process through this, not even to give me advice on my situation, but to help me to objectively process what it is that is going on in my head. I think, yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever feel like a lot of times too, another thing is like having to overcome feeling weak? Because a lot of times in the church, our issues are associated with like, we know that all is sin and we know that we're not good enough, but the issue itself is like, don't show it, because either then you don't have faith, or you're not holy enough, or you're not whatever. And so sometimes when you translate that into therapy, for me, the issue is just like, how can I share my issue or my trauma or process this with you and trust that you're not going to look at me and take me as a weakling or somebody that can be kind of like, manipulated or overcome or just look down upon. Like, don't pity me, just work with me. Yes. And I think that's my issue, is like, I don't want pity. Like, I don't want to be, like, I don't need a super therapist, like, hero. I need for you to help me, like, and understand, I have strength, but in this moment I'm needing guidance. And I think sometimes that's my hang up when it comes to therapy or even therapeutic practices, is just, and what I try to do even with my clients is like, I'm not pitying you. I'm going to meet you when you are in the driver's seat of this. And so, and I think that still also mimics our relationship with God. Like, he is the driver, but he gives us free will to make decisions on how close we're going to allow ourselves to get to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's not going to stop pursuing, but I think that's a key. Anyway, I asked that question because, as you were talking, it just made me think about how some of us just struggle with sharing because we don't want the other person to have the upper hand on us. And I think that's kind of what Daddy was saying too, is like, don't be putting our stuff out here like that, because we all right, we can take care of it, too. So.
Right. That's good. And fighting that idea of weakness, because I know even when I first started going to therapy, that was definitely a fight, which as I'm looking at things, I'm always, in the last couple of months, I've been like, okay, Jasmine, how are you thinking of, how does this apply to how you think about God? How does this apply to how you think about yourself? Like, how are you talking to yourself? How are you talking to God? And I think that the not wanting to be weak and not wanting to be weak to God, like not wanting to God to think that I don't trust him like I say that I do. I want to God, and Lord, let me just, I was talking to somebody one day and I was about just like something. And I was like, I think that the reality is that I don't trust God in this area. And that's hard for me to say out of my mouth, because I know that I love God.
Blasphemy.
I know that I want to trust God, but the reality is in this moment is I don't know if God is trustworthy. And so going to God and being like, God, I don't know that you're trustworthy.
I understand that.
Yeah. Can you convince me? Can you help me to see that? Because the Bible says that you are, the church says that you are, people that trust you say that you are, but that's not where I am. And so how do I get there? I don't know, but I know that honesty and telling the truth feels like the starting point.
Yeah. And I think that's where God wants us. Like, God wants, we make the assumption that God wants us, here and, full of faith and this, but God is really okay taking us where we are and allowing him to show us, through his works, not the works of other people, but through his works, how to trust me. Like, and I'm going through that now. Like, God, teach me how to trust you, because I've lost faith and trust in some areas. And so God, help me and show me. But it all starts with like relationship, that social work 101, establish rapport, building relationship. And that's where I have to do my part. I have to, start with the relationship, and let it grow to wherever that needs to be, and let God do what he needs to do with building trust and things like that. So it's the same, like we're just on the other end of it, where we're like trying to like, can I trust you? Can I, like, is it okay to talk to you? Is it okay to feel safe in this space?
Yeah.
That's what he's asking. He wants us to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's, any shame or, don't feel guilty about being in that place. Cause I think God wants us to be vulnerable. He wants us to come to him for that. He wants us to come to him for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I was thinking, if I can, is too, that a lot of times what we are taught is that we need to get God because we need something from God instead of needing God. And so when God doesn't provide the thing that we come to him for, whether it's, to be just cliche, a mailbox blessing or a husband or whatever, when God doesn't, because when you don't go to God for God and you go to God for something else and he don't give you what you want, that's when the mistrust happens. Because what we get taught all the time is, if you do A, B, C, D, if you're obedient, if all these things line up, then God has got to bless you. But that's not true, because God has his will. And so the thing is that if we would start with teaching each other and using our faith and go to God for God, then he can change our heart, he can change our mind, he can expose us to his will and his love for us. And so we won't feel entitled. And I say all that because, like we always allude to, whenever Daddy died, I was furious because I felt like I had finally been putting myself in position to live this life. I was at everything. I was doing this in the church. I was doing this in my personal life. I was quoting these scriptures, and I should be blessed. I've been a good girl, God. I am owed the healing of my father. And, sometimes not even taking into account that God was trying to prepare me for Daddy to leave, but also not taking into account that sometimes the good thing is your no, because I'm saying yes to what he may have been praying for. And so a lot of times, because we don't see the full picture, I have lost mistrust in God just because my expectation was that if I behave well, you're going to give me what I'm asking for. And that's the achiever in me. So I've had to unlearn that and learn that even in the scriptures, when we read, it says it pleased him to bruise his son. It pleased him. So then I have to rework, like, okay, so how does that connect? It was a good, how is it that all these people that God used have gone through torment? When you read Psalms, like one day David was up, he was down, he was left, he was right, but he was called a man after God's own heart. And it just seems like there's more to it than some of the things that we've been believing, because we wanted to make it simple. Building a relationship with God is too complex to put to an A, B, or C or a 3-point sermon. It takes a day by day by day. And I think that is some of the things that when you're really trying to build and be a friend to God, it's like with any other relationship. Like Jasmine is so complex. You're so complex, Kay. I can't expect to learn you and then figure out what to do to get what I want from you. I have to walk with you and evolve as you evolve. Because you're not gonna, God is never changing, but he's so vast, he may as well be, because I don't know everything about him. And so I think that we have almost simplified too much what authentic relationship and being a friend to God means. And so we haven't been invested enough time. Sunday is not enough. Sunday and Wednesday is not enough. If you're really trying to be God's friend, period, to me. So I don't know. I just feel like, again, that's the thing that just keeps resonating in my heart, is that we've tried to simplify it too much. If you just do good and you go to church and the 23rd song, then you good, but that's not really being a friend. If that was to be mimicked in our day-to-day relationships, we call that an acquaintance. Or just somebody I'm cool with. So I don't know.
So at this point in your life and in your journey, do you feel using your feelings is a weird way to ask this question, because I know that feelings are up and down, but do you feel like you are a friend of God? Do you consider yourself to be a friend of God at this moment, thinking about all the things that we've said about friendship?
I will be honest, if you would have asked this question maybe even a month ago, I would have said no, just because of me and where I was. I felt, just feeling far away from God because of my own, doing or viewing, viewings about myself.
Yeah.
But I saw a post that I wanted to just share. This came from offline, but the definition was, your best friend is the one that knows the worst about you and loves you just the same. And that best friend is God. And that is so true, because I don't, I'm not one that will always share the ugly side of me too, or the good and the bad. Like, God is the only person that truly, truly knows me, the great and the not so great. And for him to still look at me and love me, take me as I am.
Yes.
That's love. That's a friend. And I don't know that I've experienced that, on earth. I have great friends, but even my greatest, friends, they don't know the worst. They don't know the thoughts that I've thought, those really horrible places I've been in. And he does. And he still pursues me. Like, that's what's so wow, is that he still pursues to have a relationship with me.
Yeah.
And I think if we look at God as not the, how we've been taught, like, he, there is an expectation that, God desires, but God wants a relationship with us first, and he's willing to take us as we are. Sorry, I said I wasn't gonna do that, but he's willing to take us where we are. And that's where I'm at now, just realizing that, man, God loves me to see everything that I've done and still be like, no, I want you as my friend. That is friendship. So yes, I can say today, I am a friend of God. The song, I am a friend of God.
I do think in songs, and even when I was writing these questions, and I'll let you answer in just a second. Even when I was writing these questions, I'm thinking about, so there's a song called Communion, and at the end of it, I think it's Stephanie Gretchen, and she says, I didn't know that I could have a friend like you. And she says, yes. I didn't know. Like, and even when you're in your life, when you do have mistrust with people that you really care about, or you have walls that you put up, and it's just like, and in therapy, it's like, I can't keep these walls up. Like, I can't keep on, because I am walling up me from me. Like, I don't know
who I am.
Keep on doing these walls, and it makes you feel vulnerable, and it's like, oh my God, all these doggone walls is coming down, and now I gotta look at myself, and looking at yourself and realizing just how crazy you are, and how you put your hurt that you experience from other people onto God. Like, God, I didn't know that I could be this broken and come to you like this.
Yes.
Know that you would be here for me even in my brokenness. I didn't know. And I think that's the awe that the Bible talks about, right? It's just like, man, there is nothing that I can do that could separate me from you. And I was separated from myself, and even you are reconciling me back to who I was called to be. And that is wild.
Yes.
That you think so much of me, that you want to be with me, that you want me to be who you called me to be. So I can't even get in the way of that. Like, it's just like, God, I didn't know. And that's why I feel like, even in this pandemic, I feel like with being by myself and not working for my validation in church, and not making church attendance the meter of whether I am saved or not, and not having to face the fact that when I am by myself, I don't be reading the Bible like I wasn't reading the Bible like I need to read it. Like, let me, Jasmine, be honest with yourself. Like, you ain't seeking after God how you would have been if you were teaching on Wednesdays and you were teaching on Sundays, because now you just out here chilling, watching Netflix. And so let's be real about those things. And having to be honest with myself about those things has pushed me to a place to be like, okay, Lord, who are you to me?
Yeah.
Who do I say that you are?
Yeah.
Because what does my life say about you? Who do you say that you are? Because I thought these things weren't right. What were you finna say, Alicia?
It's nothing to stop you. It just kind of, to that point, it was just kind of, are you going to go to God when you don't need to prepare for somebody else?
Yeah.
Is your relationship with God contingent on having to stand in front of other people again, or is it because you love him?
Yeah.
And I think that that's been the thing, honestly. First of all, Kay, I love you. And I'm not going to forget that we're on live. But as your friend, to see what God has done in you is so inspiring to me, because I just love you, and I'm just so grateful. And that may be where that joy that Jasmine was talking about is coming from, because you know that you are loved and you are good enough and you are validated in him, and he loves you. And that relationship that you and I even shared, like we were wanting to build with God, I see it flourishing in you on this freaking screen. And
it's been work. And I mean, like,
but I'm just saying,
a hot mess.
Beautiful. It's like, hey, think about where we were 2 years ago, 3 years ago to today. Just, oh my God. I don't know. I want to scream. I want to shout. I need Norman, but I'm
right.
But I don't know. That's just kind of where. And then whenever, Jasmine, when you were talking about God reconciling us to ourselves, like us not knowing us as much as God knows us, I just, in my heart and in my mind, I saw my this part of me over here and this part of me over here, and Jesus standing in the gap on the cross, like just kind of like trying to pull them back, like the Matrix, like trying to get them. And it made me think of that song, when I thought I lost me, you knew where I left me. You know what I'm saying? You reintroduced me. And I think that's the part that on my journey through grief, and as we still work through grief, I remember being on the floor in my room and God telling me, I will wait for you. Mm-hmm. But almost a year, and that's in this space when everybody else is like, okay, now it's time to move, now it's time to press, now it's time to push, now it's time to this. And God was just like, you are good. My grace is sufficient enough to be God in the midst of you even being upset with me for not doing what I wanted you to do. You're still mine here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still mine in your anger to me. You're allowed to be angry. And I think that's a place of healing for me, because just walking in my daily life, a lot of times, I'm the person that when Alicia gets angry, it's an issue. It's just like, oh my God, I can't believe you're not happy about it, whatever. And so when God was like, you're good, my grace is sufficient.
Yeah.
I will wait for you. Yeah. And I mean, a year of, y'all saw the writing, y'all saw the post. I was mad at God, and God provided me that space. And then to get even to this year through this pandemic, and him reintroducing me to myself, and then me asking him, God, deliver me from people I overthink. I don't want to be, because I feel like I'm more concerned with the thoughts of people than I am about you. And so I'm doing these things that are good things, but it's all because I want people to be pleased and feel like I'm doing a good, and it's just like, God, I can't. And so even as I'm, I'm still struggling. I know that God is my friend, but I still know that even as we being real, like I don't every day do what I need to do to show God that I love him. Yeah. And I'm not beating myself up about it, but it's like, if this is somebody I love, I feel like God will be like, you could be a better friend to me. Like, I feel like God, I know that, and so my heart breaks because God has been so good to me, but I daily let life get in the way of what I need to do to stay healthy. And he always reminds me, he was like, Alicia, the reason why you're dealing with confidence issues, baby, is because you closer to those people than you are to me. You ain't heard what I had to say about you today. You steady over here talking to them. You steady over here watching these people. And all I want to tell you is that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. All I want to remind you of is that I got something for you. All I want to get you to understand is that, yes, you're 35. You hadn't reached your dreams, but I still have a great work for you to do. But you can't hear that because you over here worried about these folks.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, God, deliver me. I'm Leandra Johnson. Deliver me, because all I do is hurt me, trying to please, you know, and make everybody else happy, and you cannot. And so the question has been asked to me several times, like, even like, why are you still virtual? Like, when are you going back into the church? And it's just because, like, I'm not quite sure if I am completely delivered from people to step back in. I mean, just being honest. Like, I don't want to get back in the church and then start seeking validation from people again. I still know that I need to grow with me and God. So when I walk back in and somebody asks me something and I need to be able to discern, is that the word that God had for you? Are you sharing it with me like it's for me, or is it really for me? Because God will tell me, you know, and I want to be, you know, we get those things misconstrued. God will give somebody a word and they try to share it like it's for everybody. No, baby, that was yours. And I want to be able to discern what's mine. But that comes with having God as your best friend, you know, and it's just like, now it's like I walk in my flaws unapologetically. I used to hide stuff like, I don't no more. I struggle. I hide. I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not boasting in my flaws. I'm not boasting in my infirmities. I'm not doing that whole, you know, God know my heart. I'm just saying I am who I am. And God authentically is changing me. It's not me trying to look like a good church girl anymore. Mm-hmm. It's not me trying to put on church. It is me trying to authentically change so that I can be free. Yeah. I want to be free, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be just a good girl or a nice woman or a bomb wife or a great mom. I want to be whole. Yeah. And God has told me time and time again, Alicia, that only comes through me. Through
relationship, yes. Relationship with him.
You can pray about money all day long. I can pay your bills. You still gonna be depressed. I can do this and you still gonna have anxiety because your peace is not in me. And so honestly, that is my struggle. I have grown so much more in the last year of having to pursue God outside of traditional church settings. And that's not me forsaking, because I've still been fellowshipping. I've still been gathering. I've even visited, you know, and come back here and there. But it's like, we have to learn how to respect everybody's walk with God and stop comparing walks. And just like God told me the other day when I got hot, he was like, you need to look at me and keep walking. Because if you look to the right, you start listening to the left, you're going to start sinking. Look at me, girl. Look at me, you know? And so even to answer that question you asked, when I hear God, it is a father's voice. Like, almost like our earthly father, but like a gentle, but like sometimes a kick in the pants. You know, before it was very angry, like I was scared, like I don't want to, you know, I could go to hell every day, you know, that type of thing. Oh, I forgot to repent from every single sin I did. Now very much because God said he forgives me, you know, and that he will wait for me. It is a very fatherly voice, which can vary from soft, gentle love to, okay, Alicia, it's time.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I think as I'm thinking about like freedom, I think that when you were just talking, Alicia, about how like I don't have to, I think you grew up thinking the Lord, every night I need to go back through my head. When did I mess up? Let me say all of that to you so that I can repent of all those things so that tomorrow I can be perfect. Every day, Lord, I'm trying to be perfect. Let me look perfect. I got to be perfect in everything that I'm doing. And it's so much pressure that I put on myself that I feel like, I do feel like for the first time I'm walking in a freedom that even if I'm not, when I'm not perfect, not if, when I'm not,
Because I'm
right now,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, you're free. You are free, daughter. That I think that God is always finding us.
mm-hmm.
And so often we think that we have to, I got to find you. I got to read the scriptures. I got to do these things I got to do. But God is chasing you.
Yes.
God came to us.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter how far you feel, or the weight of the shame, or the weight of the guilt, or if you just have like, I throw up my hands and Lord, I give up on this faith. I don't believe anymore. I feel like at this point in my life, I'm not intimidated to be honest with God about where it is that I am in my faith, because I know that God is going to find me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, and I know that God is going to find his people. And I know that if you're watching this and if you're struggling in your faith, and if you don't know like whether you believe or not, or you don't know that you're good enough, or you don't know how to trust God, or whatever it is that you may be struggling with, that God is going to find you too.
Yeah.
I feel like the three of us can say in faith for you that God is finding you.
Absolutely.
He is
Yeah.
after you, that he's waiting on you, that he's in search of you, that he wants a relationship with you, that he is not intimidated by the things that you've done. He's not intimidated by the doubts that you have. He's not intimidated by the past that you have or the walls that you put up. He's like, well, I'm God. So I guess
Yeah.
I'll be here until the end of time. He's Alpha and Omega. He ain't going nowhere. Like, and being able to shake.
Can't even gotta wait.
He don't have to wait, because he not like he all the times. And so I hope that we are getting to the end of our time. It's 8:01, and we got like 3 questions, y'all. But I hope that you know that God is finding you, that God has found you, that he has intentions for you, that he doesn't want you to live your life broken, that he wants you to be whole, that he wants you to know who you are, and he wants you to know who he is. And if it's therapy, if it's friendships, if it's parent relationships, whatever it is that you need to talk through stuff with, do that. Tell the truth about who you are and where you are to people that are trustworthy and to God, because that is the starting point for friendship, for anything else that you want in your life. I was telling them before I got on this call, and even I've been sharing on this Facebook page too, that I hate that it didn't connect to me that this was the conversation that needed to happen first. And that's just me being transparent, that when I thought about this theme of friendship for this season, I was not thinking God. I was thinking, I'm a trash friend. How can I be better to people? Okay, let me talk to this group of people. Let me talk to this group of people. Let me ask people about what it means to be a friend to them. Let me be a good friend to myself. I was never thinking, how is God a friend to me? Until I listened and I saw that none of those things that people were saying was changing anything. So let me go back. What did I miss? I missed him the whole time. And so it's my encouragement to you that God wants to be your friend. That when you are in him, you are a friend of God, and greater love has no man than that he would lay down his life for his friends, and that God has done that, and he's proven that, and he's continuing to do that on a day-to-day basis, so that you don't got to stay in your shame and in your guilt and in your low self-esteem, because he's saying, I laid down my life so that you could get up and be with me. I want to enjoy you. And we got to move some stuff out the way to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what therapy has been for me, is moving that stuff out the way so that I can be the friend and the human and the Jasmine that I know that God wants for me to be. So I don't know what next season of Starting Point will look like, but I do know, and I told these ladies this, and I'll tell all of the guests here that, and I'll give y'all a chance to say final words. So if y'all want to think about what it is that you want to say, but I don't enjoy asking people for help. I don't enjoy asking people to join me. It's a fear of rejection. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of starting point is not good enough yet for people to join me. Maybe people don't think that it's good enough yet, or whatever it is. That's me being honest, that's where my thought process is. And so for every guest that has joined me for the first season and for this season, I just want to say that I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for believing in this. I appreciate you for praying. I appreciate you for texting me when starting point comes to your mind. I appreciate all of those things. And we out here, y'all. And I hope that it helps you. What I know is this, is that all I can do is do the work, and that God has to bear the fruit.
That's right.
So I'm gonna keep doing what I can do, what I know how to do, and I believe that God is gonna bear the fruit. I believe that God is gardening us. So yeah. So do y'all have any final words?
I would just say, just to encourage you, like, again, you've already been this starting point, and you have been a huge blessing in my life, even when you don't think you're doing a work. Like, just watching your journey has been a blessing for me. And I think I would also add, just in this journey, for whoever may be on a similar journey, where you're looking for just peace and clarity and direction. What I found is that it starts with that relationship with God. I have, I will try over and over and over to make it in my works of, or you're a student, you're a mom, you're this, you're that, but I have completely lost focus of what God's purpose has been for my life. And the only way I can get to understand what his purpose is for me, as just provide more clarity on that, is if I develop a relationship with him and quit trying to say, okay, give me the direction for XYZ job or XYZ. No, God, just give me clarity for what you want me to do in this day, in this moment, on this Zoom, tomorrow when I go to work. Just, I'm your vessel, Lord. Use me in the way that you want to use me. And he will reveal himself to you. And my purpose may not be what I, think God is setting me up for, but I don't want to be out of his will, and I don't want to be out of his purpose, as I have felt that. And my decisions, my fleshly decisions are, what I cap God out at, like, okay, this is what I want. But if I allow him to just work and do the work in me, sky's the limit. And that's where I want to be. But again, it starts with that relationship with God. And you may be 36 years old before you realize that. And it's okay. It's never too late. Just start with the small things, like every day, what is it that you can do to just draw a little bit closer to God? Read something, get up and pray. And we ain't got to get on. I mean, it doesn't have to be this, let me get on my knees and let me turn all the lights and light the candles. No, like, talk to God. Like, God, me and God had these conversations, like, you know what, God, like, just like that, like, come as you are, just have a real authentic talk with him, and he will start speaking to you. He will start talking to you. We have several conversations on my drive to and from work. In my readings, God is speaking to me. So I just encourage you, if you're in that place where you're looking for clarity, that peace, you're kind of unsettled with peace in your life, seek God.
Yeah. I too, Jasmine, again, whenever you were talking about, you give yourself grace.
Yes.
When it comes to even how you got to this topic, because instantly when you said that, I heard in my heart and my spirit, the first shall be last. And so even in you putting this topic as the season finale or whatever this is, it's in right timing, because the way God does a thing is not, we beat ourselves up because we don't think about it the way we think we need to think about it. But again, God's thoughts and his ways are not our ways. And so for somebody else, they may have needed that epiphany, because that's really how we do life anyway, you know. And so God said the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So just switch it. And what he said, you did right anyway, you know. So, you know, and the other thing was, for you out there who are, maybe you're like me, you know, I grew up, and I'm just gonna be real honest, like I grew up and we were always in church, we were always there, you know, we like we alluded to before, you know, we were taught very much about making sure that you are taking value in your name and who you are and all those things, and you get taught to do your best, and none of those things are bad. But I think that a lot of times our human nature causes us to misplace God in the hierarchy of our life. And so for me, you know, I began to learn through church achievement. And that's not to the church's fault. That's just kind of what happened. It was like, if you can do these things and you can do this and you can do this, and everybody's pouring into you and they're telling you about how great you're going to be and how awesome God is and what they see in you. And, you know, then you're a stoker, so you got to be a good girl. And then you in church, you know, and you don't want to do this and you don't want to be seen doing that. And God gets lost real quick when it becomes about your reputation.
Yeah.
God gets lost real quick when it becomes about you being seen as holy enough, or wearing the right thing, or saying the right words, or preaching the right way, or you got people overlooking your notes. And it's not about, God, what do you have to say to these people? It's about, is this person going to be pleased with what I'm finna say? Or are these people going to be happy with what I'm finna say? And I'm speaking from my personal experience. You know, if you're a person who has been churched, I'm churchy, y'all. I can, you know, it's okay. You have to know that you're not good enough alone. And it's okay for you not to be, and to recognize that you're not good enough. And I don't know if I'm making sense. I hope that I am. But like I said before, for the first time in my life, I'm not hiding. I'm not trying to look one way and then look over here. You know what I'm saying? I think that there were so many things I was trying to make sure people didn't see, you know, because, oh, this would look bad about so-and-so and so-and-so. But it was never about how God is going to look, how God is going to feel as my friend. And so if you are afraid to build a relationship with God, because I know after Daddy died, I was very scared about even singing songs that said take all or take this, because I was like, God, I've experienced loss and I really don't be what, because you know, when you pray for something, you honestly are praying to be tried. And so I was like, God, I don't know. My son had his tonsils out, so I'm sorry.
Hey, we are moms.
Pray for my son. He is struggling with the tonsil situation for real. It's tough for him. And he is not, because he can't stand pain. But that's how some of us are too. You know, God put a little bit, and we were like, ah!
Yes.
Anyway, the song that came to my mind is what I'm trying to get to is, you know, what I'm saying is that just don't be afraid of being where you are. If you disappoint people, that's okay. If if people get frustrated because you start changing, that's okay too. Just start with God, you know. Yeah. And so the song that came to my mind was, for anybody scared out there, was a song by Stephanie, great singer. I always don't know if I said it. And it's called Come Out of Hiding. And she said, come out of hiding, you're safe here with me. There's no need to cover what I already see. You've got your reasons, but I'll hold your peace. You've been on lockdown, and I hold the key. Because I love you before I knew it was love, and I saw it all. Still, I chose the cross. And you were the one that I was thinking of when I rose from the grave. Now, rid of the shackles, my victory is yours. I tore the veil for you to come close. There's no reason to stand at a distance anymore. You're not far from home. I'll be your lighthouse when you're lost at sea, and I will illuminate everything. No need to be frightened by intimacy. Just throw off your fear and come running to me. Because I loved you before you knew it was love, and I saw it all. Still, I chose the cross, And you were the one that I was thinking of when I rose from the grave. And that's basically the thing that's on my heart.
Yeah.
And the thing that God shared with me is that you don't have to be afraid. God's not going to hurt you the way those people hurt you. And even if he disappoints you, he's going to love you back to life. He can reintroduce you to yourself. He can show you who you were really meant to be. Some of us are out there chasing purposes that have nothing to do with what God even intended. It's because somebody else told us, oh, you good at that. Yeah. Oh, you supposed to be. No, purpose is not. Some of this stuff we're just making too difficult.
Yeah.
And so just don't let people tell you. Your very peace is dependent on you building a relationship with God. The joy that you want to feel. And I could go on and on, so I'm going to stop because I know the time is far spent. So I'm going to turn it back over to Jasmine. But we are praying for you. And I'm praying for me. And so just know that if you knew me growing up, you don't know me now. And that's okay. And just don't have an expectation, because God is amazing. And whatever you think you're going to find is going to be better than that. Yeah. And that's been my experience. So, and I'm not walking in. That's Garrison.
Hey, friend.
So, I'm not walking in anything other than this is where I'm at. We outside.
Yeah. Well, I love y'all. And I love
We love you.
We love you.
Yes.
Season 3 coming up.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.